For my project on religious pluralism, I wanted to look at it in a different way and focus on something that is very important to me: food. Being a food science major, I've spent this quarter looking at the processing and production of food products and wondered how different religious dietary restrictions might affect them. In a place where there are so many different religious practices, how might the food industry be different from a place with less religious pluralism? So what are some of the different rules for diet in common religions? In Buddhism, there are no specific guidelines in religious texts, but many Buddhists are vegetarian in accordance with the principles of causing no harm found in their religion. In Islam, halal is followed, which is a dietary restriction focused on eating what is good and pure. This means no alcohol, no meat that was not slaughtered correctly, no pork, and a variety of other rules. Muslims also celebrate Ramadan, which includes fasting during the day. In Judaism, people follow kashrut, or kosher. The purpose of this is to show obedience to God by following seemingly purposeless rules. Some of these rules including not eating forbidden animals, not eating animals that haven't been slaughtered a certain way, not eating meat with dairy, and not eating grape products made by non-Jews. So in summary, dietary restrictions serve different purposes in different religions. In the case of Buddhism, it simply corresponds with the beliefs of the religion. In Islam, the purpose is to be good and pure and to not eat dirty foods. In Judaism, the purpose is to show your obedience to God through following rules. So with that answered, we can move on to my next question. How does the religious pluralism in the United States and California affect the food industry and how people eat? To answer this, I asked my food science professor about her experience dealing with kosher labeling.
I am Dr. Amy Lammert. I am Eva's favorite professor ever. I'm sorry to say that to you. And I am a professor in the Department of Food Science, and prior to coming to Cal Poly, I worked in several food industries as a product developer, or I should say several companies as a product developer. And with respect to religion, you will see on numerous products the circle U, you'll see a K or a circle K, a halal symbol, and any product that bears this logo has to be produced using the method that is approved by this religious designation. So for example, circle U is a Jewish designation that designates that, okay, this is produced in a way that is appropriate for our faith. Well, when I was making snack pack pudding for Conagra, we were doing what's called a plant trial. And what you do on a plant trial is you come up with new flavors or textures on the bench top, you put it together in the pilot plant, and then you take it out into the production facility. Well, we were creating a snack pack pudding, which I can't say what it was because of confidentiality, but what's important is that this compound or this product was going to have carmine added as a color. Carmine is basically from a beetle, and it's red, and it makes a red color in food. Carmine was not Circle U or Circle K kosher for Conagra. And we were in the plant getting ready to put ingredients into the batch tank, and one of the women from procurement was running through the plant. Now bear in mind there's wet floors, in high heels with no hairnet on and no gloves. Stop! 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 Stop what you're doing! Don't add anything. Well, we were getting ready to add the carmine color to the batch. Well, if we added the carmine color to the batch, that entire production line of the plant would no longer be kosher per those standards. And in order to make it kosher again, to meet those kosher standards, we would have had to fly the rabbi from New York to the plant. The rabbi would have had to instruct and watch the entire cleaning process of that line and then bless that line before it could be used again to produce the snack pack pudding. But A, it didn't happen, and B, if it did happen, the rabbi's timeline is not on Conagra's timeline, and if that did happen and the rabbi had to come out and bless it, it's several $100,000 of lost profit due to lack of production on that line. So this little thing of adding an ingredient that was not kosher to a line, thus could have avoided it from being used to produce any more products that would bear that symbol again. And at that point, I remembered always when you request ingredients to ask for all the kosher language and all the religious language and documentation when you order it. And that is how religion plays a role in how food is produced for society today. The end.
I also did some research and found out that markets for kosher and halal foods are increasing in the US. These foods also have special labels that require a lot of money to be regulated and maintained, which proves that these religions are having a fairly large effect on the food industry. Additionally, the odds that you have not tried or heard of popular Jewish foods such as latkes or matzo ball soup are slim. There are also restaurants that are changing the game, such as the Halal Guys, who are a national chain that makes only halal food. In addition to the Halal Guys, there's also been an increase in other halal restaurants in the United States, even some that serve ethnic foods that are not from countries where Islam is common, such as Mexican food. This is an awesome example of the positive effects of religious pluralism because most Mexican food is made with lard, which is not halal, but now it is possible for Muslims to eat a greater variety of foods and still follow their belief. Now that we have explored the effect of different religions on the food industry, it is time to look at the effect of religious pluralism on the people who live here and answer the question, are people who live in the United States less likely to be kosher halal than if they lived in a place where being Jewish or Muslim is the predominant religion? To look into this, I did some research. I found that around 22% of American Jews and 75% of Israeli Jews are kosher. However, the percentages are a little different depending on your denomination. But no matter what, there were more kosher Jews in Israel than in America. From this, I determined that because of the religious pluralism found in the United States, there is less focus on a singular religion and the many different religions impact each other. Since many religions do not have as strict dietary restrictions as Judaism, they may have influenced Jews living in America, so they do not follow kosher and other aspects of the religion are seen as more important. So finally, I wanted to explore what it is like following religious dietary restrictions here at Cal Poly. There are labels for the foods that are kosher and halal, as well as a variety of other dietary restrictions. I follow the ones for vegetarian food and have found it very convenient, but I can't directly claim that I know what it's like. If you follow a restriction that is not kosher or halal, however, it would definitely be a lot more difficult to manage. In conclusion, there is a strong correlation between religion and the food industry, especially in a place with a lot of different religions, like the United States. The dietary restrictions from these religions are changing the market to include labels and more variety of products, so it is easier than ever to follow whatever belief you want involving food. So even though it might not be your first consideration when thinking about the effects of religious pluralism, there is a definite connection, and I think it's pretty fascinating. These are the resources I used to find information for this project.